Hey Sean, do you have an update on Kevin Dotson's ankle?
Yeah, he got his ankle. It might need some time, so we'll see. Got a good ankle sprain, but we'll see exactly what that means. But I think his status will be possibly in doubt for the Falcons game.
Was the stomp by Derek Hall the reason he got hurt, or was he already injured earlier in the play?
I think he was injured before, but it certainly didn't help the matters, and it was definitely not stuff we want in our game.
What was your reaction to seeing that?
I saw it live. I mean, I was pretty upset and disappointed, and bummed that we missed that too. You just don't want that. Whether if one of our players did that, I'd be very disappointed. And I think he would be the first to admit too that that's not something he wants to do. That's not there's not a place for that stuff in our game.
Now that you've had another day, what was your reaction to seeing Puka's tweet about the officials?
Yeah, he's going to continue to mature. It's similar to what I said yesterday. I talked with him right afterwards. He is a young, guy that is continuing to learn the importance of this platform. Like I said, I love him. I love his heart. What I want to continue to educate him on is, hey, there's platforms that he's got, an incredible influence on. There's a time to be able to have people to vent to. That is not the space to do that. He knows that, and I feel very confident that that will not be an issue for us moving forward. He does care a lot, and there's other places to be able to get some of that frustration out, whether that's sharing it with me, his teammates, in settings that are more controlled, where things don't become, an unnecessary conversation where we don't have to answer those questions, and that's not something that he wants to do. I do know that. And I'm very, very confident that we'll be headed in a direction that these will not be issues moving forward because I'm betting on the human being. I'm going to put my arm around him, and the narrative doesn't change from yesterday in regards to we're always going to be able to learn. And I think he's a great example of being able to learn from it. And I think you guys are going to see that moving forward. I know you will.
You reported that he was fined for his comments criticizing the officials. Will he face any additional discipline from the team?
The first part of your question cut out. I didn't get it. Could you repeat that, please?
Was fined for criticizing the officials. Will he face any additional discipline from the team?
No.
Thank you.
Stu, hey Sean, just what'd you make of Terrance Ferguson's performance the other day, just both as a pass catcher and a blocker? I know we ask you about him, it feels like every other week, but how's he grown and developed and become the
Yeah,
player?
he's just what you said with your question. He's continuing to ascend into a complete player. Made some critical plays in some big moments, and he's going to continue to be a factor. And I think the best is yet to come for him. I think he's got an incredibly bright future. Love Terrance.
And then Justin Dedich coming in at right guard for Kevin the other night. Just what'd you make of what he brought?
It's been consistent with what he's been about. This guy's always just kind of delivered. Game's not too big for him. He's tough. He plays tough. He plays physical. He's a great communicator. He understands the intent of what we're trying to get done. I thought he was really productive in both phases. If Kevin's not able to go, we'll obviously miss Kevin a bunch. But in the meantime, it's a real luxury to have a guy that's had as much experience in his first 2 years as Justin has, and plays winning football for us.
And then have you had any conversations with Reggie yet about Tyler and Rob coming back next week, and also what Davante's availability may potentially look like?
Yeah, we have conversations all the time. They're fluid and flexible, and I'll probably wait to give you guys those full updates when we reconvene on Monday or whenever it is that we connect next.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Gary?
Hey, Sean, just to be clear, so with Davante, you don't know yet if he'll be available for the Falcons?
I would say most likely he will not be available.
Okay. How did you feel like the guys who kind of had a step up did in his absence last night?
But you don't ever replace a player like him. He's a special player, but I was really proud of the group. I think you don't ask one receiver to just take over his production. It's kind of by a committee. I thought Matthew did a great job of getting a bunch of different guys involved. I thought, Mumfield made his plays. He's continuing to ascend. Xavier Smith delivers when he's asked. Jordan Whittington does the same. Tutu did a good job of being able to affect and influence coverage with some of the snaps that he played. And so I thought they did a really nice job. And that's a tremendous credit to Eric Yarber, Nate Shieldhouse, and Rob Calabrese. And, I thought the tight ends also, did another really good job of being able to impact and influence the game in a positive way.
With you guys assured of a playoff spot, is there any thought of keeping Davante out until the playoffs to let him rest and heal?
We haven't talked about that. I think, we really just take it a little bit at a time. This guy's a great competitor, Gary. He wants to be out there. I say most likely with Atlanta, Davante is going to do everything he can to push to be available for that. And then it's our job to be able to kind of figure out what is best collectively with him. He's a player that deserves to be involved in those types of conversations because of the respect, the experience. But that isn't something that we've discussed at this point.
And then finally, did you get any more clarity on the 2-point conversion, that was changed from an incomplete pass to a fumble recovery in the end zone?
Yeah, so it's a technicality issue. What they said is, you can't advance a fumble under 2 minutes on 2-point plays or on 4th downs. That's the thing. Because they said it was a backwards pass, that's how it was able to be advanced. But I think we would all be in agreement. And I have a total appreciation for the layers and the semantics of all the rules, especially being on the competition committee. There's a lot of empathy and difficult spots that some of our officials and just, everybody's in. But I do believe this, that is not something that we want in the game. When you reject, you're able to review a 2-point play. You can split hairs on, all right, is it a forward pass? Is it a backwards pass? And when you reject it, they casually, pick it up, which, you always do that. The whistle is already blown dead, mind you. And then they wait 1:50 in real time to then go back and say, we're going to review this. And then it ends up getting called a 2-point play. So, but by rule, because it was considered a backwards pass and not a fumble, they were able to advance that. I do not believe that anybody would be in disagreement that those are not the plays we want in our game. That was not their intent. They were trying to throw a lateral screen. It got batted down, and it was it was not a successful conversion, but by letter of the law, it was. And so those will be things that we'll discuss because I know this. Those aren't the kind of plays that you want to have people converting on. That's not something that I can imagine anyone would argue with me on that, and I would feel the same way if it benefited us too.
So are you saying the whistle was blown, like that your players thought the play was dead?
Yeah, but that wouldn't have anything to do with it. That's an irrelevant point. That's not the point. The point is that it's not called a fumble. You can't advance a fumble in those situations, but because they said it's subject to review on the 2-point play, it was actually a backwards pass. Now you're able to do that. It'd be like if you fumble the ball on a toss, you can pick it up and advance it. But when situations and circumstances arise like that, those will be things that I guarantee you will be addressed and conversed over to try to eliminate plays like that from being able to happen, while totally acknowledging and being aware that there's a lot of layers to it where it's not exclusive to those plays because there's other things that you're saying, all right, well, it opens up a can of worms with that. And that's something that I have gotten exposure to behind the scenes on the competition committee that there's a lot of empathy for. But what I will say at the end of the day is I can't imagine anybody thinks that plays like that should be counted as conversions. And I know I would feel that way even if I was a beneficiary and the roles were flipped and that benefited us last night. And I can honestly say that.
Very much.
You're welcome.
Adam.
Sean, what did you see on the Shaheed punt return in the fourth quarter?
What's that? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm at the airport. What did you see on the Shaheed punt return in the fourth quarter?
I saw a flat, low kick that was not at all intended for what we wanted, and you give a guy like that an opportunity, and that's where the momentum flipped.
Seahawks players, including Ernest Jones, said that Rams players were laughing at them while up 16. Do you feel like your team had the right level of focus in the fourth quarter?
Yes. There's dialogue that goes on all the time. We didn't lose that game because of lack of focus. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
The road to your ultimate goal got harder last night. Just what gives you faith that this team can overcome what's ahead of them?
What about our ultimate goal got harder?
Just in terms of potentially being on the road, potentially different matchups, whatever is going to be the case with Kevin Dotson's ankle.
I love exactly where we're at. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Just like every other situation that's come up this year, we're going to come back swinging. And this is going to be a setback that's going to be a setup for a phenomenal comeback for us. I don't look at it at all like that. This is a phenomenal, beautiful opportunity for us to respond. I'm grateful that our season isn't over and that we've got an opportunity to lean in, try to finish this thing strong. Whether we're at home or away, I couldn't care less. I'm ready to roll, and I can't wait to do it with this group.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maria?
Sean, you kind of just answered my question. You've always talked about the way the team responds after a loss or after something happening. And last night, Kobe Turner was, from what I saw, he was positive. He kind of, resonated that. Can you just elaborate on that? Because it seems like sometimes maybe you have a tough moment and it does bring out the best in you. Yeah.
And it's because of the people in that locker room, Maria. And that's why I have such conviction that these setbacks will be setups for comebacks. It's moments like this that, if you allow it to define you or if you allow it to be demoralizing. Hey, listen, like I said to you guys last night, if we wanted to win that game, we competed our tails off and it just didn't go down for us. But I have no lost faith in this group. I'm so excited about the opportunity that we have to still be able to play football. Because in some instances, you play games like that, and that represents the finality of your season. And what I've seen from this group gives me confidence that, hey, does it make it more difficult for home, all these other things? I'm not worried about that because I can't control that. I can't go backwards. But it's okay to feel a little bit of disappointment. But how we channel that energy, that focus, that concentration towards the things that move us in the direction that we want is what's most important, because that game's over with. They found a way to get it done. Hats off to them. But there's a lot of things in that game that, I'm excited about how we can build on. And then there's some opportunities for us to be able to learn from it. You talk to the coaches and the players, the thing that's just so amazing that, it makes this game beautiful and why you guys and why we love it so much and why it just can be an absolute gut punch is we'd feel totally different if we match a route combination on a chip over the ball and stop a 2-point play, or we have a couple things go differently, but it didn't go down that way. And you can't be afraid to get up and come back swinging. And guys like Kobe Turner, that's why he's a captain. And we got a lot of guys that epitomize that, Maria. And that's why I'm not at all discouraged. I'm excited and energized about how we respond because didn't want it, but this is an opportunity for us to be who we say we are. And seen is better than anything we could say.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
We'll have Jordan to wrap up with Michael.
Back on Zoom. Hey, Sean.
Hey.
This week, I guess, to paraphrase it, you'd say Puka made a series of decisions that you say he's learning from.
Yep.
And you say you guys talked about his platform and accountability. I'm curious, what is that platform in your eyes and what is that accountability? What does that look like?
Well, I think it's understanding, the circumstance. Number one, I think, and I don't know the totality of all the stuff that happened with the streamers. I am very naive and I don't pay attention to that stuff because that doesn't give me, I just don't waste my time with that stuff. So I was not really aware of a lot of the circumstances until kind of artists had brought it to my attention. Then you address it. What I want him to be aware of is that he's got an amazing platform and influence because he's got this great personality. He's got this amazing ability to compete the way he does on the field. So let's use these blessings and understand what accompanies that. And there's some times where maybe you're, in positions where you're not even realizing you're susceptible to, do things that you don't even mean to do. Well, that was a great example the other day of he's sitting there and whatever that celebration they were trying to talk him into was, I know he had zero idea that was potentially offensive to anybody. So there's one learning opportunity, and he's going to continue to do that. And then the other things are, that doesn't move us forward to tweet about officials. Whatever you feel, even if you feel like you're merited in what it is, you still have to understand, does this move me forward? Where are the platforms and the places to be able to vent, which I think is healthy to be able to get things off your chest. that do it in the manner that's reflective of how we want to be able to operate, and then how he can represent and epitomize the type of leader and the caliber of person that he wants to be on a daily basis. Those are the things that we talked about. And I love him. I love this guy. I'm going to put my arm around him. I love our players. I think a huge responsibility of coaches is to make sure that you're in it with them and you're helping them work through things that are not exclusive to just being special football players. And that's not something that we take lightly. And that's why I'm so adamant in his defense, because I know this guy's heart and I trust my intuition on that. And I'm betting on him. And I think, these will be blessings that he can be able to learn from. And hopefully people give him some grace in the midst of some mistakes. That I appreciate his ownership and accountability. And now that only resonates with people if you do fix it. And these aren't continuous things that pop up. And I'm confident that that's the trajectory that we're headed towards.
Thanks for the response, Sean.
You're welcome.
Hey, Coach. In yesterday's game, defensively, you guys started off on fire, getting after Darnold, causing him to turn over the ball. But they figured something out there in that fourth quarter, other than the punt return, to kind of get something going, and then, of course, finishing the game there. What things did you guys see defensively that they kind of figured out that got them going?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they figured out. They had some good some good execution on some explosives, where uncharacteristic execution on our part. You give them credit. I thought the 1-7 cut that they hit Cooper on was excellent execution. Then a lot of the other ones were things where you're saying, hey, nicely done, but, we can execute, and there's some situations where we could, play things better based on, the rules of each of the calls that maybe we ended up, giving up some uncharacteristic plays on. But we'll respond like we do, and there'll be great learning, and that's all we can do.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Coach, appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys.